You're really a very experienced man in this Middle East debate. Welcome here tonight, and please, I would like to give you the floor to make some statements for about 4 or 5 minutes, and then I raise some questions to you. And then the audience gets against the floor.
Let me begin by commenting. Is this working? Let me begin by commenting.
Please, I do.
It's working, okay. Let me begin by commenting the government program of the Netherlands that was agreed. It does say something about a two-state solution, but I think that this statement is false. It is insincere to talk about a two-state solution, which is done by the Dutch government and which is also done by the Israeli government, if you are aware of the fact that things are changing every day in the wrong direction, not in the direction of a two-state solution. When Mr. Netanyahu came to Parliament, Dutch Parliament, he said, and that was the first question Mr. ten Broeke asked. Mr. ten Broeke asked about the settlements, and he said the settlements are not a problem. They're only 1.5% of the West Bank. And he repeated that evening in a TV program that was mentioned. Now, in NRC Next, this statement was commented, and it was analyzed and judged that it was only partly true, but mostly false, the answer that was given by Mr. Netanyahu on the question related to the settlements. Yes, it is true that build-up in the West Bank, the build-up of settlements is only 1.5%. But since the West Bank is divided in A, B, and C sectors, and A sectors not available to Palestinians, more than 40% of the West Bank is not available for Palestinians. So if we talk about a two-state solution, and we know that at the same time, larger parts of the West Bank are not available for the Palestinians, not now, maybe not ever, then talk about a two-state solution is insincere. And therefore I highly criticize the Dutch government, because also in the government program is the intention to come to deepen the relation bilaterally between the Netherlands and Israel. A couple of years ago, the EU decided that the intention to deepen the relation between the EU and Israel would have to be suspended. And the EU has done so. It is only the Netherlands that takes this position outside EU decisions to suspend the plan to deepen this relation. So if we talk about a common position of the EU, as wished by many, then why would the Netherlands take this new position? Let me elaborate a little bit on the settlements. I was in the settlements and in the West Bank often. I was there last July, and I could see with my own eyes what happened in the settlements. Yes, the building, not outside the settlements, in the settlements. But every dollar put in, every shekel put in the settlements makes a two-state solution more difficult. The fact that the controlled areas by Israel are so large means that military courts now rule over things happening in the West Bank. So children are brought to military courts for throwing stones at walls, at armored cars. They get sentenced to 3 months, 6 months or more. This is not bringing a two-state solution anything nearer. I think that we have to condemn all the violence that is used by all parties in the conflict. Yes, we have to condemn the rockets coming from Gaza. But let me say this about the recent violence. The recent violence did not begin in Gaza. Yes, it began in Gaza by a targeted killing. Yes. A targeted killing, that extrajudicial killing that is usually condemned by the EU. And it is also formally condemned by the Netherlands. Extrajudicial killings are illegal, and they must stop. They are not bringing a solution anything nearer. That is what provoked the recent days of violence. We also have to condemn the settler violence. And I'm ashamed that the Netherlands was the only country blocking the report by the EU heads of mission. The only. It is in the report itself. That is, I had the report in my hands today. It is not out yet. But it's in the report itself that the Netherlands does not agree with the report. So when it comes to the Dutch position, I think that the Dutch Foreign Secretary, Mr. Rosenthal, more behaves like the second Israeli ambassador to the Netherlands, maybe even being more effective than the real ambassador. That is a joke, sir. But he is actually helping Israel, thinking to help Israel. But I think that he is not, because I still believe in a two-state solution. Without a two-state solution, and we are leaving the prospect of a two-state solution every day. Without a two-state solution, there is only finally a situation in Israel of apartheid, and that will not help Israel. It is not in the benefit of Israel to have an apartheid state, to become the international pariah, which happened to South Africa. And I think that if you consider yourself a friend of Israel, as I do, then I think that you have to warn your friends. In America, we say, friends don't let friends drive drunk. And that is exactly what you do. If you have a friend over and you pour him too much wine, then you make him stay. You will not let him leave your home if you know that he's going to go home by car. And that's what we have to do in this case. We have to warn our friends in Israel. We have to warn our friends in Palestine when it comes to the use of violence, when it comes to the negotiation table, the process. We have to warn them. And we do not do that by saying, yes, it is okay to deepen the relation at this time. Because if we do so, then we are not credible if we, at the same time, condemn the fact that there's being built in the settlements, such as America has done. The Americans have asked to freeze building in settlements. Israel said, we're not going to do that. And the Americans said, okay, well, we tried, and that's what the Netherlands is doing as well. It's condemning the settlements. It's condemning building in settlements. But if Israel goes on doing that every day, thousands of houses have been built in recent years, and this process goes on. And if you then, at the same time, say, well, we're going to give you more carrot, because then we still are speaking partners, then you lose credibility yourself. And you're not helping Israel. Although, on the short term, you are giving them what they want, but you're not helping them. I want a two-state solution. I want a secure and viable Israel. I want a secure and viable Palestine. And that is what we should go for.
Well, Mr. van Bommel, you said some very interesting words tonight. You said, I'm a friend of the Palestinians, but I'm also a friend of the Israelis. I'm sure that this will be reported directly now to Jerusalem. And what my question is, your party is in the polls now the #1 party. If you or one of your party members become Minister of Foreign Affairs, what will your SP do, will be the first steps they will do in this difficult conflict? Well, towards towards Israel, towards the Palestinians, and towards the EU.
Well, first of all, Israel to me is a foreign country. It is not the first country I think of when I wake up every morning. To some of us it might be. To some of us I'm sure it is. It is not the first country that comes to my mind when I wake up. So it would not be the first country I would consider changing the relation with when we would write a government program. Let me begin by saying that. I think that relation we have, for instance, with some countries in Europe, the United States, Russia, those relations are far more important in our interest, if we talk about our interest. If we talk about...
So you are like the Chinese leader who wanted to have relations with Palestine and Israel and was turning around the globe and didn't find where these tiny countries are.
No. I've been to the region quite often.
I know.
I've never been to China. I have been to Russia. And I have worked in the United States. Fact is that the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is at the core of the instability in the region. And I think that if you really want to have a two-state solution, then you have to address the issue more intensely than the Netherlands is doing today.
Okay.
And we should not reward bad behavior, as is done today by the Dutch government.
Have you ever been in contact with Hamas people?
Yes.
And did you ask them, please recognize my friend state Israel?
Yes.
And what did they say to you?
They said, we have already done that in the process. And also, bear in mind that when we talk about, for instance...
We have done that in the process. Is that
yes.
really true? Did they do that? I raised the question.
I can't prove either way. I can't prove they did, I can't prove they didn't.
Okay, we will hear that from
I can't prove they did, I can't prove they didn't. What is important is that, of course, Israel has to be recognized by everyone involved in the process. Should that be a prerequisite for talks? No, I don't think so. I think that that it must be the outcome, the result of talks.
Yeah. And when you talk to your Israeli friends, what are they saying about occupying territory, Palestinian territory, for 44 years? What do they answer to you? Do they explain why they are doing that?
Listen,
why they are doing? Yeah.
The differences in Israel on this conflict are far wider than in this room, or in this country even.
Yeah.
So there are, to the extremes, you will find more positions in Israel itself than in the Netherlands or in Europe or even worldwide. In Israel itself, the differences are far wider. So it depends on who you talk to.
Now, maybe you talk to government people like Netanyahu.
Yes.
Yeah?
Well, to some people, it is not an occupation. To some people, settlements are not settlements, are not illegal. 67, some of us talk about the borders of 67, others say it is the Green Line, talking about the wall, others say it's not a wall, it's a fence. It's all, we can discuss definitions, but I want to discuss solutions. And that means that the settlements have to go.
What kind of pressure can the Netherlands put on Israel and the Palestinians on both sides to improve this peace process? The Netherlands are giving, for example, aid to the Palestinian Authority.
Yeah, that's mostly
yes.
done. That is mostly done through the international organizations. Through the international organizations, most money is given to people in Gaza, literally to survive. We're giving them, but we're paying for their food. Why? Because not enough food can go in. They can't produce their own food. It is a very tiny strip of land that the Gaza Strip is. So the Dutch are paying for part of that. We are paying for the Palestinian Authority. We even pay some of the salaries. And I think that is a good.
But you know, there's corruption, for example.
Yes,
and what do you do against this corruption in the Palestinian Authority?
It has to be investigated by international institutions. The Netherlands has no position to go in there itself and to investigate, but it has to be investigated. And corruption should never, like in the EU, where there's a lot of corruption in some countries, it should never be rewarded. So there has to be a stimulus for the Palestinian Authority to root out corruption in the PA.
If you say to the Israelis, stop building settlements, this is so important. They are not listening to nobody. They are not listening even to their American friends. They are not listening to their European friends. They continue to build. They know they ruin the peace process. They know in the long run they ruin the relation
now
with
you're
their
saying
neighbors.
something interesting.
Yes. No, I'm raising a question. What do you say to when you raise this? This is not a statement. When you raise these questions to the Israelis, what are they saying then? The authorities.
First of all,
the extremes.
First of all, they say we're not expanding the settlements because we're building in the settlements, like Mr. Netanyahu told us. We're building in the settlements, and the settlements, you know, if we come to a two-state solution, then we'll have a land swap. So there is really no problem with the settlements. That is the answer that we get.
Okay, I think we have to give the audience the floor. I see the first person. Please, your name and then your question. There's the mic. Where's the microphone? Yeah, there it goes.
Hello, my name is Koen, and I have a question. Your colleague just said that he believes that Mr. Netanyahu is capable of finding a solution to this problem. Do you believe that too, and why?
He's capable, but not willing.
Okay.
He's capable, but not willing. If you say that the settlements are not really relevant in this problem, then you're insincere. Then you're not working towards a two-state solution. You're making a two-state solution impossible, and that is a political position. You can use that political position. I think it's against international law. I think it's against peace. I think it's against stability in the region, and eventually it will not work. So it is not even in your own interest. It will be in your interest while you're in office, but it is not in your interest of your people. So you're not only being insincere, but you're also, in the long run, you're betraying your own people. That's what Mr. Netanyahu is doing.
Next question is in the second floor. Yeah, there. Yeah.
Well, my name is Christian.
Actually,
I'm from Denmark. It's also a small country, and I was thinking we also have the same kind of debate. But I was thinking that isn't it kind of irrelevant actually, because the United States, they are the one that we should lobby and try to you know, influence in order to actually resolve this problem, because they are the one holding the key. I mean, if the United States, because first of all, maybe in reflex they say, yeah, okay, then maybe you should do this, Israel. But then Israel say, yeah, right, okay, we're not going to do it. And then you refer to that, okay, then they have tried. But it's not how it is, because they are Israel is under the United States security umbrella. So actually they are supporting them. I mean, and they hold the key. And
the key to peace is in Washington. I
yes,
fully
exactly.
agree. I fully agree. Still, we have our own responsibility. So yes, we should try and influence the US. But if in the US, those who are in favor of a two-state solution and who are sincere, if they are not able to do that, then it might be very hard for us to be successful in this respect. So we have to do that, what you're saying, but we have to take our own responsibility, and we are not doing that right now. So let's begin at home with the Dutch government, Dutch Parliament, with the EU, and try and change that position. It's a hell of a job even to do that. So yes, I agree with what you say, but let's begin at home.
I'm a member of your party too, but I'm very curious about with whom within the Palestinian society we are friends. Is that Mahmoud Abbas? Is that Salem Fayyad? Or is that Hamas? And I'm a bit worried about you saying at first that Hamas has recognized Israel, and very next moment you say, well, I don't know either whether they have or whether they haven't. Government that is a legal government is bound to the treaties and the conventions that previous governments, in the name of their legal state or their state in becoming, has made. So if Arafat made a convention or made signed treaties, then Hamas would be bound if you consider it a legal government. And well, So my question is, how friendly are we with Hamas, and what is the expectation of elections within the Palestinian territories, which should have been held in 2010? And as concluding, I was wondering, there are voices both from the left in Israel and from the Palestinian side that say the two-state solution is no longer viable. And from the left side, there is the speech of the discussion on a common state solution. I hope maybe both ambassadors will elaborate on this question too, but what is my party's view on that?
Well, you should come to our meetings, you know. We have meetings all the time. Or visit our website.
It's not an XP meeting here, but please answer to this question. Yeah.
Like I said, we have invitational every year.
Okay, no,
Hamas. This is we have to discuss this very precisely. I did not say Hamas has. I said, when I asked the question about recognition of Israel, they said to me that they had already done so in the process. Can I check that, whether that is true or not, by signature or by accepting a document, etc., etc.? I cannot check that. So I can't prove either way. That is what I said. So I said, they claim they have already done that in the process. And can I check it? I can't check it. I can't prove either way.
Well, you have to ask for documents and have them read by somebody who knows Arabic.
It's not that easy that we cannot have a parliamentary inquiry and have people from Hamas under oath with documents, etc. It doesn't work that way in this region. Okay. It doesn't work that way. Now, about yes, but friends. You know, talking about friends is a bit difficult when we talk about politicians. Politicians don't have other politicians as friends. Politicians and countries and political parties have interests. And it is in my interest to talk to everyone who's relevant in this conflict. So I feel the privilege to talk to everyone.
Okay. There's a sir there who wants to raise a question. Yeah. Please, your name.
My name is Alfred Weberwee, and I'm from a different Jewish voice. And perhaps I could clarify a little bit on the Hamas position. Of course, I couldn't take on board everything they feel or do. But one point I'd like to stress, and that is that in practice they do a sort of recognition because they are willing to have negotiations with the state of Israel about how to behave in future so as not to shoot on each other and so on. So there is this recognition in practice. But if you read their documents, you wouldn't find it back. So indeed, that's the problem. But they are practical people too. They want to come forward. And so you have to look at the situation. They are in practice in a process of recognition because they are willing to make agreements with the state of Israel. Thank you.
Well, fact is that I believe that in the end, important issues like this have to be put on paper with signatures and be seen as a part and parcel of international law, as an agreement, under the flag of the UN, etc., etc. I think that that's important, and that's the way we solve things in the international relations.
Okay. Last question to Harry van Bommel, lady there.
Did Israel any time recognize the Palestinian state? Did they ever recognize them?
There is a Palestinian state. It is recognized by, I think, 130 countries.
Yeah. Israel. Did Israel do that also?
I don't think so. It is not recognized as a state by Israel, but the ambassador can give the final answer.
So
on that.
what are we talking about?
But the Netherlands hasn't recognized it either.
Yeah, please, because I would like to give both ambassadors to work. Also.
I would like to add one word on that. I think it is very important that Israel and the Netherlands recognize Palestine as a state, because then we would have even partners It would also be in the interest of the peace process to have a Palestinian state as an accepted member of the UN. So I was very much in favor of recognizing a Palestinian state and having it as a member of the UN.
I think we will hear that from the ambassador of Palestine.
Yes.
Please, the lady.
Not only the state of Palestine is not recognized, Israel never ever has recognized any of the UN resolutions, nor any of the international law, because Israel is violating all the time the ceasefire, like now recently in Gaza. Targeted killings are criminals of war, crimes of war. Thank you very much. So what Israel is doing is violating international law and UN resolutions all the time. Who is talking about breaching promises?
Okay.
Israel is.
Well, there's nothing new in that. Unfortunately, yes, UN resolutions are not carried out. It's not so much recognizing, it's about carrying them out. They are part and parcel of international law, decided by the UN. Same are rulings of the International Court of Justice when it comes to the position of the wall. This is all part and parcel of international law. So yes, that has to be carried out, lived up to.
Okay. Thank you very much, Harry van Bommel. Please an applaus for Well, of course, the organization we were discussing a very long time. Who will give the word now?